The second place trophy goes to Woodlands Middle School. Will everybody here from Woodlands Middle School please stand and be accounted? This is their third year participating. They have the second highest percentage at 97%. That's 1,220 essays. And Principal Tanya Daniel is carrying her trophy. Congratulations to Woodlands. In third place, will everybody from Osceola Creek please stand? Osceola Middle School. This is their third year participating. They consistently generate great participation. 96% of every student there. Principal David Alfonso has the trophy. And this year, we are giving a very special Chairman's Award trophy to Don Estridge High Tech Middle School. This is their first year participating, and they have over 91% of all the schools participating with over 1,030. Everybody from Don Estridge, please stand and be recognized. Now for the final 17 schools. In fifth place, please stand. Everyone from Bach Middle School, with Elizabeth Kennedy, your president, submitting 1,193 writings. Thank you. Next, with Principal Jack Thompson, Boca Raton Middle School, with 1,117 writings. Everyone from Boca Raton Middle School. Next is Jupiter Middle School, David Culp, 1,116 writings. Will everyone from Lake Worth Middle School please stand? 82% of Lake Worth Middle School. Thank you, and be recognized. Next, Principal P.J. Doust at Omni Middle School with 1,282 writings. Everyone from Omni. Thank you. Will Principal Faith Ann Cheek and all of the people from Christa McCullough Middle School please stand and be recognized. Next is Watson B. Duncan Middle School and Principal Jose Garcia. Please stand, Watson B. Duncan. Next is Eagles Landing Middle School and Principal James Campbell. Everyone from Eagles Landing, please stand. And next at our recognition luncheon is Roosevelt Middle School with Principal George Lockhart. Everyone, thank you. The next school has done an extraordinary thing. Principal Bob Hatcher at his school took last year's book and every day from the loudspeaker read one of the essays, and he's told me he's committed to doing that again this year. Please recognize Principal Bob Hatcher and Western Pines Middle School. Everyone stand. Thank you. I know this is a lot of applause, but after all, that's what this luncheon is about. It is a recognition luncheon, and we want all of you to have your recognition. So next, will all of the students and Mary Stratus from Coniston Middle School please stand and be recognized. Next is Tradewinds Middle School and Principal Rebecca Subin. Thank you, Tradewinds. Next is Lakeshore Middle School and Principal Floyd Henry. Everyone from Lakeshore, please stand. Now remember, these schools had a full, clear majority of all their students participating. Imagine the effort. And next is, did I already say Carver Middle School with Lena G. Wallace? Well, they're next, Carver Middle School. Please stand, everyone from Carver. Thank you, Carver. And now all the students from Lantana Middle School and Principal Ed Burke. Hello, everyone from Lantana. Next is H.L. Watkins Middle School and Principal Glenda Sheffield. Congratulations to H.L. Watkins in your top 10. And next is Congress Middle School and your Principal, Kathy Harris. There are over 35 middle schools, including alternative schools. And we did receive writings from almost every school. And we, of course, just recognized the 21 schools that had full participation. And although they are not eligible to bring their top 10, we invited 4 other schools to bring their number 1 student who submitted the best writing for that school for their effort. And I would now like the students, teachers, and the principals and the parents from these 4 schools to stand and recognize. Hold your applause until I recognize all 4 schools. South Intensive Transition School and Alternate School, please stand. Crestwood Middle School, please stand. Bohokie Middle and High School, and Turning Points Academy. Will all of the students and teachers from these schools please stand and be recognized? Thank you. And now we want you to hear from some of the students themselves. I'm asking Alan to bring the students to the front of the room. But first, I want to give you an explanation about the selection process in general and the students chosen to speak today at the luncheon. Alan, do you have the list of all the participating students? We want to make sure that everyone showed up. The top 10 students from each school are selected by the principal of the school, and the principal is given great discretion in the selection process. But the principals know that Do the Right Thing is about reducing violence and not about spelling and punctuation and grammar or sentence structure. So we ask the principals to give great weight to the personal experiences expressed in the writings, and we hope that they chose their top 10 students on the basis of their ideas and their thoughtful solutions. Do the Right Thing does not rank the top 10 students from each school by excellence. They are all excellent because they took the challenge. So they are listed in the book alphabetically. And the student speakers that we are introducing to you now are intended to represent a cross-section of the community representing every participating school. Except for the 6 finalists who are mixed in with all the other speakers, the student speakers were selected at random. They are not intended to be listed in order of rank or importance. There is no ranking. And so I would like the first student who we have as a speaker and all of the students to move to the front and come behind her. And if you could, try to use the microphone. I'll introduce you. Daya Desai from Bach Middle School will now read from her writing. Please hold your applause.
Violence has affected me in many ways. I always carry my cell phone. I always go to the mall with a group of friends and adult supervision. I'm also very vigilant and aware of my surroundings.
From Samantha Krasker from Coniston Middle School.
Look through the eyes of someone who is bullied. Someone who never wants to leave the security of his or her house. Someone who never wants to look down the hallway and see someone. Someone who looks at them with a cruel eye and walks the other way.
Tiana Holman from H.L. Watkins Middle School.
You've heard it all before, but now it's knocking at your door. I hate this truth. This affected someone's life, causing death. It could have been prevented if he just walked away.
Jacob Wesson from Bach Middle School.
When I was in the summer between 5th and 6th grade, I had to go to summer camp, and there was a boy there, and he just made my life miserable, and it got to the point where it affected my parents because they had to take me to work with them so that I would get to avoid having to deal with this child, and it had an effect on me, and so I felt like writing about it was important. Sitting at home, wondering what form of torment will come the next day, and worst of all, living in constant fear with no sense of any help coming. The true, unadulterated feeling of loneliness.
Taylor Collin from Don Estridge Middle School.
Sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Not true. I was bullied in the 3rd grade. Words can hurt even more than punches sometimes. I learned that you should speak up right away and not wait too long.
Richard Villard from Lake Worth Middle School.
Everyone's affected, even if slightly, even me, who must witness it nightly.
Thank you. For you, Kimberly Lee? Thank you. From Jupiter Middle School, Kimberly Lee.
In some way or another, violence has affected everyone's life, even if it was in a minuscule way. Seeing violence in movies, hearing about it in the news, or in school, and even reading about violence has made me more cautious of what I think, say, or do with other people.
Jaquitha Brown from Lakeshore Middle.
I always get mad when I don't get a chance to do certain things because of my violent ways. Why is that? To tell you the truth, I really don't know. I have to realize that to get stuff and go places, I have to change my ways.
Thank you. Candace Arthur from Lake Worth Middle School.
Like, I wrote for one of the causes how, like, if your parents are, like, abusive or if they abuse each other or do things like smoke or something and don't really watch over the kid, he could, like, gain some, like, built-up anger or anything, and anything could probably set him off.
The police are putting the kid into the back of the car, and he looks like he regrets it. Everyone in class is either crying or, like you, frozen in place with nothing but white noise going through your head.
Sean McGee from Osceola Creek Middle School.
I was pulled around in the halls, and after that, I was called all kinds of names, like one-eyed loser, pirate, and even Cyclops. The entire 5 years, I got picked on and bullied. I learned how to ignore them.
Allison May Austria from Roosevelt Middle School.
I would come home acting like nothing was wrong, but cried myself to sleep every night. I felt alone and injured. When my mom finally understood, she and my teacher dealt with the problem. I am now able to stand up for myself. I know who I can rely on and believe in. I can only hope that others who have experienced what I have will be able to find those people they can depend on.
Cara Speranza from Western Pines.
Well, I realized that a lot of my friends didn't really like me, and that they were just, because they were scared of me, they were my friends. And so I realized that I was losing a lot of them. I lost respect with my parents, and so I basically found a sport that I loved, and I started playing it, and I just started drifting away. And those friends came back and realized I changed.
Why didn't I think about the consequences, which is exactly what I didn't do. Think. It's the key to living. Violence has affected my life by losing the trust of my parents, losing some friends, and losing respect.
Emmanuel Concepcion from Palm Springs Middle School.
When the officer told her what she needed to know of the fatal fight, she started to scream and she started to cry and asked the Lord why her son had died.
Christopher Barrett from Watson v. Duncan.
Don't see the front page news about a person who gets a perfect score on their spelling test. However, bring a gun to school, start a fire, or attack someone, and you make the news. Why do we value this information? It saddens me to think, to be considered cool, you need to be an anti-socialist.
Nico Notare from Krista McAuliffe.
If we help kids and try to understand what they're going through, then we might be able to stop them from causing harm to themselves and people around them.
Wyatt Hinkle from Boca Raton Middle School.
Even when violence took my dad away, the anger within me left an ugly scar that would not go away, until the anger turned into violence just the same.
Travis DePanasis from Woodlands Middle School.
There are war games that promote shooting and killing. These games are not good for some kids to play because they like the thrill and cannot tell between real life and the game.